Hey everyone, the moment we've been waiting for is finally here. Alpha 21 Experimental for 7 days is live. The game has undergone a massive transformation, and I'm about to get you all caught up on all the new features and changes. So let's jump right in. Alpha 21 will be known as the update that gave the game modern graphics. Many new decor pieces have been added, such as excavators, tractors, new vehicles, posters, fences, platforms, tents, barbed wire and HESCO blocks, plants, and so much more. Additionally, nearly all existing objects have been updated. Everywhere you look, there's something new to see. There's a new workbench which lights up when you're crafting something, a new forge which shows the anvil, bellows, and crucible if you have them in it, and the campfire has been improved to show the beaker, cooking grill, and cooking pot if you have those. Feast your eyes on this brand new chemistry station and check out these new spinning cement mixers. Weapons and tools have had a little TLC too. There's a completely new stone spear, and when you dye something now, it doesn't saturate the whole object, it just accents certain areas. There are dozens of new door options, everything from double vault doors all the way down to porta potty doors. Doors will now degrade as they're damaged, and you can fight through them if needed. There's a ton of new windows too, and instead of being crafted separately, they're just made using block shapes and can be upgraded and repaired from there. And speaking of block shapes, you'll find several hundred new shapes to use. A few of my favorites include the log cabin shapes, this industrial fence here, and this new baluster rail, which should be interesting to use in a fighting position setup, and these bowling pins, because who doesn't want some bowling pins in their base? Probably all of you. Anyway, moving on. There's also been a huge improvement to overall lighting and reflections, which makes the game feel much more eerie and realistic, particularly inside buildings and at night. The video probably doesn't do it justice, but once you're in the game, it's really noticeable. The last thing on the art front is the addition of Thick44 Flags. Thick, or Tony, was a YouTuber in the Neebs gaming crew. He passed away earlier this year, so now we all have a way to remember him within the game. And I'll leave it up to you to guess exactly how many cloth fragments it takes to craft one. This update will see the addition of at least 75 brand new questable POIs, or points of interest, and all other locations in the game have received some form of upgrade with the new decor and block shapes. Here's my new favorite POI, a military base called Fort Razor, and here's a comparison of a trailer from Alpha 20 and the latest version in Alpha 21. Another example here is the JW House in Alpha 20, and now known as the Judy Witch House here in Alpha 21, with some new buildings around back and on the side to explore. Among these new POIs are 4 brand new Tier 5 POIs. There's a nursing home, a new apartment skyscraper called Vanity Tower, and 2 prisons, Navezgane Corrections and Navezgane County Jail. 2 POIs, which were previously Tier 4s, were upgraded to Tier 5s. The Red Mesa facility is one of them, and this house is the other. This is House Modern 23. It's the secret Higashi residence with the big underground secret lab. I don't want to go inside and show you guys any spoilers. And of course, the remaining 8 Tier 5s have received a bit of a facelift too. Just check out the hospital here, which is really essentially a brand new location. Every POI now has a proper name, and you'll see that name pop up when you walk onto the property. You can also see it in a box at the top right corner of your screen anytime while you're inside. And next to that is a difficulty indicator, which is represented by these new colored skulls. The red skulls go from 1 through 5 and show the tier of the POI. The orange skulls go 0 through 2. The regular pine forest is 0 skulls, burned forest, which is exclusive to Navezgane, is 0.5, desert is 1, snow is 1.5, and wasteland is 2 skulls. Essentially, these skulls are an indicator for difficulty of the area and your loot stage, which is basically a calculation that determines the quality of loot that you can expect to find there. By the way, everyone, I just wanted to let you know that I'll be making some in-depth guides and tutorials on an ongoing basis over the next several weeks, so you could consider subscribing if you don't want to miss out on any of that good stuff. Okay, on to some trader topics. First of all, they each have their own new compound and a custom sign. The compounds have multiple entrances for ease of access, and they can be located anywhere in a city or town, not just on the outskirts. Their secret stash inventory has been removed, and as such, better barter perks no longer offer better items. It's only good for better trade values. Trader inventories have been changed. You might have heard of Gamestage and Loot Stage, but now we have Traderstage. Essentially, as you level up, you'll start to unlock higher tech items. So on day 1, you'll most likely be seeing things like stone tools, stone arrows, cloth, scrap, armor, and so on. But then slowly, as the days and weeks go by, you'll see higher quality and higher tech items. So now, trader stock will essentially be slightly better than the loot you could expect to find out in the world at any given time. And you'll no longer be able to purchase end game items early on, like augers and motorcycles. There's a new vending machine, and if you look closely, you can find all of your favorite candy inside. This machine stocks food and candy, while the old one stocks drinks exclusively. Both of them can be found in variable locations throughout the world and not just at the traders. Candy is now more expensive, coming in at 300 dukes instead of 100. And interestingly, the Forgetting Elixir is now only 6,000 dukes, which is a huge price cut and will allow you to respec your character more easily. And now there's a new quest type called Infestation. An infested POI is one of the previous tier, but it will have double the zombies. So if you accept a tier 2 infestation, you'll be heading to a tier 1 POI. Here's a look at that from the prefab editor. In blue, you can see the regular zombie spawns, and in red are the additional zombie spawns that you can expect during infestation. Note that this is already a tier 5 POI. This is the Shotgun Messiah factory, and so there are now tier 6 quests, but they're all just infested tier 5s. Currently, there are no other tier 6 quest types or new tier 6 locations. Traders are now even more specialized, and their specialties are as follows: Joel for clothing and armor, Bob for tools and vehicles, Jen for medicine and books, Hugh for guns and ammo, and Wrecked for seeds and food. So there have been several perk changes to go over. Most notably, everyone's favorite perk, Sexual Tyrannosaurus, has now been removed. Instead, you can now receive a stamina benefit from each individual tool and melee weapon skill. So, a point into salvage operations reduces wrench stamina cost, and points into knives reduces knife stamina cost, and so on. Flurry of Blows has also been reworked. Every class now has its own version of that, and it will only affect the melee weapon of that class. So if you take points into Big and Fast, you can get better swing speed with sledgehammers and clubs, for example. So we discussed better barter before, but Daring Adventurer has changed too. It will now afford you an increase to your trader stage, and therefore unlock better items at the trader, and it'll give you more dukes for your quest rewards, and if you max it out, you'll get the bonus quest reward choice. By default, you'll now always have 5 options to choose from for your quest rewards, including a crafting magazine bundle almost every time. Okay, first off, I'd like to acknowledge that the new crafting system known as Learn by Reading has been critically received by some people. But let me just say real quick that I love it. I really want to sit here for 10 minutes and try to convince you that this is a good change right here, right now, but it's really something that you have to discover for yourself. The new progression system is refreshing, it's natural, it's intuitive, logical, and most of all, it's fun. Truly, I was on the fence about this before, but I'm 100% sold on it now. The way it works is that you no longer find most schematics out in the world, only for a few things like mods, and books will no longer unlock items either. Instead, you unlock crafting recipes by reading magazines, and you'll find dozens of magazines per day in everything from dumpsters to airdrops to trader inventories, quest rewards. They're everywhere. I had read about 250 of them by the end of day 7 and already unlocked things like the forge, the workbench, multiple cooking recipes, iron tools, and more. And what skill points you unlock will influence what magazines you find. So take a bunch of points into advanced engineering and you'll have the workstation unlocked in a matter of days. Take points into sledgehammers and you'll find more of those magazines. You'll still find all other magazines, and you'll find specific magazines in certain locations, like electronic magazines in a Mo Power store or cooking magazines in a Shamway store. But as you can see here, after speccing into sledgehammers, I had found many more of those types of magazines than I did knife magazines. The drawback to all this is that you're going to have to go out and do things in order to get better gear. You can't just build a base and kill zombies, level up, spend your skill points, and unlock better gear recipes. You'll have to loot and quest at least a little bit, but you can reliably obtain the precise magazine that you need if you allocate skill points in that area and raid the appropriate location. And again, I'll have some in-depth videos going over all of these topics very soon, so just stay tuned for those. Yet again, Random World Gen has received a nice little buff. There are new tiles and road generation looks much better. Roads will be flattened very nicely, and instead of these strange spaghetti roads, they make a lot more logical sense now. Generation time is vastly reduced, taking only a couple of minutes to generate an 8K world. The next most controversial change in this update is the drinking water rebalance and the removal of empty jars. A lot of people were afraid that water was going to be too scarce, but it turns out, using the words of my friend Echo, that this is a big fat nothing burger. I was swimming in water by the end of day 3, and I never looked back, pun intended. So you'll be able to get murky water or regular water from the traders, vending machines, and loot, and I brought home about 10 murky water per day from looting. And once you have a cooking pot, you can boil murky water into plain water. Plain water is used in recipes, including the glue recipe. You can also make a new crafting station called the Dew Collector. It's quite chunky, coming in at a 3x3 size, and it produces a variable amount of water per day, anywhere from 6 to 10 in-game hours per bottle, up to a maximum of 3 before you then need to empty the station out. To craft it, you'll need pipes, polymer, duct tape, and a water filter. You can find water filters in broken dew collectors, but it's a very low chance, so it's better off to just buy it from the trader for 1,500 dukes, or you can get it from the tier 1 completion reward, but I would still probably take the bicycle. Just FYI, I had 3 dew collectors up and running by day 7, no problem. Unfortunately, the dew collector will not work indoors. You can see these red markers here indicating that it is not collecting any water. To get them to work indoors, you'll need to clear out the middle block above them. They're a 3x3 area, so if you just clear out the middle block there, you can replace that middle block with some bars and a couple of other shapes. You gotta kind of pick and choose though, it's only a few of them that'll work, and then you can see here that it is now working. Alternatively, instead of having it outside or having the middle block space above it clear, you just need to have an area of 5 block spaces above it that are clear. So if you have really high vaulted ceilings, you should be fine. This will be working a-okay. You can drink water by hand if needed. Just press E next to the water. It has the same benefits of drinking a bottle of murky water, so avoid it if you can. Oh, and empty cans are gone too. But while we're on the topic of water, the environmental water has been upgraded as well. It flows properly now, so you can see here that it forms around all blocks nicely without looking like jello. I did this cool experiment where I made a big sinkhole and then I connected it to a lake by a tunnel, and it successfully filled up the whole thing up to the line where I made the tunnel. So it should be fun if you want to like reroute some water to make a moat or something like that. And you can now swim much more quickly, which should be nice for retrieving those lost airdrops in the lake. All vehicles now take damage when you run into things. The harder it is, the more damage to your vehicle. So watch out for debris and trees, or else you might suffer a breakdown. You can ram and kill zombies now, which is fun, but also quite damaging to your vehicle. And you do get 50% XP for the kills as well. And each repair kit now gives back 1,000 hit points to the vehicle. And if you max out Grease Monkey, you can work that up to a total of 2,000. Okay, so now I have a list of miscellaneous changes that didn't really fit into any other category, so I'm going to run through this very quickly for you here. Spears were buffed. Attacks now do up to 40% more damage and now have a regular power attack, so no more spear throwing. The Steel Spear is now very similar in stats to the Steel Club, with the addition of 50% armor penetration. The Pipe Baton was also buffed. Attacks went from 38 per minute now up to 60 per minute, but doing 15% less damage. The Lumberjack makes a new sound, so I'll let you listen to that here. Wires will now be invisible unless you're holding the wire tool. A bunch more zombies have Dismemberment, and you can use the console command TDS if you want to test that out. Zombies will now eat dead animals. Hatches are slightly different. They can't be upgraded anymore. There's just one stage, but they're slightly stronger, and metal hatches require forged iron to make and repair. You can now select what level item you want to craft. So if you want to make a new claw hammer, you might as well just make a level 1 and save some resources. There's now a toggle to pin crafting recipes, so you can see what you need to gather up and how much you have. You can also see how much you've harvested and how much you have in your inventory in the bottom right corner of the screen. There's a new minimal HUD option. Just tap F7 to hide everything but the crosshair, and then again to hide everything. There's a new menu option for chunk reset time. If active, all areas that are not covered by a bedroll or land claim block will be reset at the allotted interval, which is useful for regenerating damaged POIs or filling up mining areas, and this is off by default. Spit or juice or whatever from the mutated zombie now causes severe radiation damage, which rapidly reduces your HP. The crawler now has some jiggly bits on his stump, and the zombie dog has some jiggle tech on his collar, and wandering hordes now have a slightly increased probability to drop loot bags. There has been a huge change to how Gamestage is now calculated. There is now a multiplier and a flat bonus for each biome. This will make zombie spawns increasingly difficult outside of the pine forest, and I'll be doing a deep dive video on this topic as well as heat and hordes, so stay tuned for that in the very near future. And lastly, for the miscellaneous stuff, there have been some big changes to Navezgane. Most notably, I'd just like to point out this tunnel here which goes underneath a mountain, and also a new location for Trader Hugh. All right, everyone, the last thing to take a look at here today is performance. Now, I am in Navezgane, and I'm in the forest biome on Horde Night with 64 zombies below me. And I'm currently on quality preset Ultra. And let's look at the average FPS here. It's looking like, I'm gonna say 80. Now I'm gonna jump in and we're gonna go quality preset medium. We're just gonna take 2 data points for this. And that has bumped me up to roughly 90, it looks like. Okay, for the next part of the test, just gonna stand out here in front of this cabin. Looks like I'm getting about 170 or so, and this is again on medium still. Looks like that's bumped me down pretty considerably, down to maybe 114. For the final test, I'm here in the wasteland at the Hagashi Tower, and this is again on Ultra, and I'm getting 64, 65 FPS for this, and now getting about 80 or so FPS. I then repeated all of the same experiments in Alpha 20.7, and I logged the results for you right here. Of course, results may vary based on your rig, but what I observed here is that Horde Night performance was better in Alpha 21, but very slightly, like 5% worse in the forest and in the city. Well, everyone, that just about does it for this video, but real quickly before I let you go, I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, to the developers who made this update for us for free. They worked really hard on this for a long time, and it really shows. I love this alpha. I'm sure you will too. Show them some love in the comment section down below, and thank you for watching this video. I hope that I've done enough to earn your subscription today. If you'd like, check the description of this video for links to my Twitter. You can follow me there, or you can join our Discord server. Joining the Discord will give you access to the GNS multiplayer servers, which are always just packed with people. And if you'd like, you can post pictures of your bases, you can chat with me and others over there. But anyway, my friends and fellow survivors, that's gonna do it for this one. I will see you hopefully in the next video. Take care, all. And it certainly shows. Thank you to the also, what am I saying next? Thank you to you for watching this video through to the end.